Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Olto-8 Roto Jade Green. This watch is available from Olto8.com for $599 which is €552. You can use the discount code DL15 to get 15% off, and that will reduce the price to $509 which is €469. The watch is available in three colour options: Jade Green, Ocean Blue and Midnight Black. Of the three colour options, I think this Jade Green version is the best looking. So firstly, let's look at the leather travel case that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the specifications of the piece. So the watch comes in a leather travel case which is housed inside this outer cardboard box. One removes the lid, which is a snug fit, pulls down the flap, and inside you can see the genuine leather travel case. In the base we have a drawer with a ribbon pull. You pull on the ribbon and that withdraws the drawer, and that houses the warranty card and also the thank you card, which I'll show you. So I'll take out the travel case and show it to you. So Olto-8 deserve credit here because they could have used the default option of a less expensive plastic or cardboard watch box, but they've used this more expensive genuine leather travel case. Nice grained finish to the leather, flawless stitching around the perimeter, and it has a stainless steel popper. The underside also has a textured grain finish to the leather, and inside the watch sits on a padded pillow cushion which is vinyl upholstered to a good standard. So the padded pillow cushion is a nice snug fit inside the travel case, does a good job of protecting the watch in shipping, and on the top of the flap we have Olto-8's text logo. So very aesthetically pleasing, and I think it's an example to other low tier brands of how to get presentation correct. With regards to the items that come with the watch, it comes with this card, and on the reverse it says "Dear Olto-8 friend," and it thanks you for your purchase, and at the base it has the contact email for the brand and also their tag for social media if you want to share images of your piece. One also gets this owner's instruction manual, clear concise diagrams. The instructions are in English and it details the operation of the movement used, which is a modified Miyota caliber 9029 automatic. This is the plastic warranty card that comes to the watch, and on the reverse there's space for the retailer to stamp it, fill in the model number and the date of purchase. There's also a QR code you can scan with your iPhone or Android, and that will activate the 2-year international warranty. I want to give due credit to Olto-8 here, because often low tier pieces at this price point of €469 only cover their watches with 12 months of warranty. To get 2 years of international warranty is very good, and they deserve full credit for that. And lastly, one also gets this tag which has Olto-8, and on the reverse we have the barcode and the full reference number of this jade green version of the Roto. So good presentation and good accessories. So with regards to the specifications of the piece, we have a 38mm case diameter, we have a lug-to-lug measurement of 47mm, a thickness of 13mm and a lug width of 20mm. The genuine leather strap has an alligator finish to it. It's chocolate brown and it tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to the buckle and tang. Solid 316L grade stainless steel buckle and tang, mirror polish to the top side, underside and flanks. Nice heavy gauge to it, and it's engraved with high definition engraving with the Olto-8 logo. Doesn't have sharp corners, doesn't have any sharp edges to it, and I like the heavy gauge, and it is very well mirror polished. We have a double dome sapphire crystal with clear AR coating on the underside, and the clear anti-reflective coating does an outstanding job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the gradient enamel dial. So the gradient enamel dial has a glossy finish to it rather than matte, and I like the way it's gradients because it graduates from a green in the centre to a dark, almost black dark green to the circumference. So very aesthetically pleasing. Also like the triple arm which is mounted on the cannon pinion, because this is powered by a modified Miyota caliber 9029 automatic. So we have this triple arm, and that drives the 3 discs for the hours on the triple arm, and the top left hand disc of the 3 registers with the minute scale on the top of the dial. So we have 0 minutes up to 60 minutes, and each of these 3 discs on the triple arm rotate, and they have white markers. Now I want to clarify something. Olto-8 deserve credit here, because early versions of the Roto had 3 discs on the triple arm, but they did not have any arrowhead pointers. They didn't have these white triangles on each of the discs next to the Arabic numerals. The problem with that is it was difficult for collectors to actually read the time, because on the 3 discs on the early versions of the Roto, you simply had the Arabic numerals. There were no triangles, there were no arrowhead pointers. So it's actually difficult to see which one of the Arabic numerals was pointing to the 0 to 60 minute scale at the top of the dial. But Olto-8 refined this. This is the updated version. So on each of the 3 discs on the triple arm, we now have white triangles next to the Arabic numerals. So you quickly become accustomed to looking to the white arrowhead or white triangle pointer on each of the discs. So you always look at the top left disc of the 3, and what you're looking for is the triangle registering against the 0 to 60 minute scale. So I'll demonstrate that in the time setting test. So double dome sapphire crystal works well. I like the high dome profile to it. Now, the thing that surprises me about this piece, although it does have a very high dome to the double dome sapphire crystal, and it does have an exhibition case back which adds some thickness, this is still only 13mm, and that's the benefit of using a modified Miyota caliber 9029 automatic, because it's lower profile than the 9015. It has a lower cannon pinion stack height. So even with the triple arm mounted to the cannon pinion, the thickness of the movement is still very low profile, and as a result this is only 13mm, even with the high dome of the double dome sapphire crystal. So let's look at the head of the piece. The bezel is solid 316L grade stainless steel, has a groove machined into it, flawless mirror polishing to the bezel. The case is finished to perfection. They deserve credit here because this is high tier level finishing on a low tier price point piece at €469. With low tier pieces, the first area I look at with regards to case finishing is in between the lugs, because often this is an area where low tier brands will cut production costs in order to maximise profit margin per piece. For example, they will just machine in between the lugs or brush satin finishing in between the lugs rather than mirror polishing, because mirror polishing in between the lugs to the same standard as the tops of the lugs and the flanks adds production costs and therefore minimises their profit margin per piece. So often brands will cut corners. They will cut production costs and just leave it brush satin finished in between the lugs. This is mirror polished in between the lugs to the same flawless standard as the bezel, the exhibition case back and the case itself. Absolutely flawless mirror polishing inside the lugs. Every facet to the head of the piece has the same quality mirror polishing. Nice curved profile to the tops of the lugs, nice crisp edges to the edges of the head of the piece which mark the transition between the tops of the mirror polished lugs and the flanks to the case. One detail I really like about this piece, and it's unusual to see, is there are recesses or cutouts, or one could say scallops, in the flanks to the case. So we have one scallop on the lower portion and one scallop on the top portion, as you can see. So rather than just having flat profiles or slab sides to the head of the piece, we have these recesses, these cutouts or scallops on the left hand and the right hand flanks. Adds interest to the piece. Also, by removing some of the stainless steel from the head of the piece, it reduces the heft of the piece down to only 62 grams. So it's a very lightweight piece. It doesn't have heft, even though it has a thick double domed crystal and an exhibition case back which is glazed with sapphire crystal. It's very light, only 62 grams for a 38mm head of the piece. So mirror polishing to the cutouts in the flanks is done to perfection. It's high tier level. No sharp corners to the tips of the 4 lugs, and also the undercuts to the flanks have been deburred and chamfered very well, so no sharp edges to this piece whatsoever. Let's look at the strap in detail. So chocolate brown colour to it, alligator pattern to it, as you can see, and it has quick release stainless steel spring bars. It's a thick padded strap, so it does feel stiff. At the spring bar ends, it does feel like a very thick strap, so it's good they've used quick release spring bars, because often it can be difficult to exchange a padded leather strap which is thick like this. It's difficult to get a spring bar tool in between the edge of the strap and in between the lugs. Quick release spring bars negate the need for a spring bar tool. So although it does feel stiff, I think with daily wear it's going to break in, because when we get down to the buckle and tang end, it does feel more thin and flexible. Nice taper to it. I'll show you the underside. We've got 2 keepers, one's fixed and one slides, as one would expect. So it is a thick, stiff strap, but I think it's going to break in. Now, good attention to detail. Genuine leather embossed, and as I've detailed, we have quick release spring bars, which is good. You don't need a spring bar tool. Flawless stitching in white around the perimeter. Plenty of holes, so this will fit from a minimum 6 inch up to a maximum 7.5 inch wrist. And on the other side, we've got the Olto-8 brand emblem embossed to a good standard, and the quality of the stitching is good. Also, the quality of the lining is very good. It's nice, smooth leather, so it feels very comfortable against the wrist to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. Plenty of holes to allow for fine-tuning the length for a 6 to 7.5 inch wrist. So good quality, feels soft and supple at the buckle and tang end, but just feels very stiff at the spring bar end. But I think it's going to break in with daily wear. So let's look at the crown and test the execution of the push-pull crown. So coin edge finished, stainless steel, and nice large chamfer to it, which deletes the tips of the coin edge teeth, so it doesn't have any sharp edges, correctly proportioned, doesn't stick too proud from the right hand flank, but it is large enough to get good purchase with your index finger and thumb in order to manually wind and set the time. So push-pull crown rather than screw-down crown. The benefit of that is you do not need to unscrew the crown in order to manually wind the modified Miyota caliber 9029 automatic. So when it's closed, you can manually wind it to its maximum 42-hour power reserve. One can feel the tension in the mainspring gradually building up to its maximum 42 hours. Feels nice and smooth. Light medium resistance to the mainspring. You can feel the gearing meshing very well. Feels like a robust premium 9000 series Miyota caliber. Feels exactly the same as manually winding other 9000 series such as the 9015, which it's based upon. That's the date version. The 9029 is the no date version of it, which is lower profile. So it feels nice and smooth. Pulling it out to the first click position is the final click, because the benefit of this being the 9029, there's no date complication. We don't have a dates wheel. They simply mount the triple arm for the 3-hour discs on top of the cannon pinion, and there's no date complication. So no phantom date setting position, which is good. One click on the crown, and when you rotate it clockwise, that rotates the triple arm clockwise, and the 3 discs also rotate as the hour advances. So I'll explain how you read the time. If you look at the top left disc, you'll get quickly accustomed to always looking for the top left disc of the 3. You'll see that there is a white triangle marker, and for example, we're now at 12 o'clock. You can see the white triangle marker is at the top of the 12, and it's now coming up to 0 on the 0 to 60 minute scale on the top of the dial. This means it's now 12 o'clock. We're now at 12:10, 12:20, 12:30, 12:40, 12:50, and so on. When it gets to 60, we're now at 1 o'clock. So you quickly become accustomed to always looking top left of the dial for the arrow or the triangle, the white triangle marker next to the Arabic numeral. And it does become easy. For example, now, if you look, it is now 1:30, because the white triangle at the top of the 1 Arabic numeral is now pointing to 30 for 30 minutes. It's now 1:40, 1:50, and 1:60, which is now 2 o'clock. Actually becomes very easy to read the time. Now, it does take some time getting used to it, because if you're familiar with 3-hand movements or 3-hand pieces with an hour, minute and second hand, it does become unusual to look at a 3-armed arm, as you can see, a triple arm. But with practice, you do become quicker, and it does become easier to read the time, and you can quickly look at the top left all the time, look for the white triangle next to the Arabic numeral, and now see it's 2 o'clock, for example, and for example now 2:30, and then when it gets to 60, it's now at 3 o'clock. The 3 is registering with the 0. So I like it. Now, in terms of how it feels very similar to a date complication. It's just like rotating a date wheel, but it doesn't have the clicking feeling. It doesn't index like a date wheel because there's no date complication. But in terms of how it feels, the resistance rotating through 360 degrees, it's just like rotating a date wheel on a Miyota 9015, for example. That's how it feels, or a Seiko NH35A, but without the clicks. Feels the same anti-clockwise as well. Feels smooth. So there's good meshing in the gearing in the Miyota 9029 automatic, which this is based upon, and I like it. And doesn't have much backplay. When you rotate the crown clockwise and anti-clockwise to set the time, there's not a lot of slack in the movement. You don't have to take up a lot of backplay in the gearing. There's an almost immediate response, and it's good. I like it. I think it's very smooth, and it's good that they based the modified movement on a premium grade of Miyota 9000 series such as the 9029. Pushing it back in, it's got a nice positive click, and that restarts the movement. So it has hacking, and I like it. I think it's smooth to manually wind, smooth to set the time. So I'll show you the exhibition case back. So the exhibition case back is glazed with sapphire crystal, and provides an effective hermetic seal to 50 metres. Does a good job of displaying the movement, which has milled stripes, rather like Coats du Genève. Now, it's a sterile version of the Miyota 9029, which is modified. The rotor is unsigned. I think they could further enhance this by signing the rotor. For example, they could laser etch or alternatively engrave the rotor with the Olto-8 emblem or Olto-8 text logo, because it just has the standard sterile Miyota 9029 rotor. It's undecorated, unsigned, but the movement does have some milled stripes which look like Coats du Genève, so it does look aesthetically pleasing, and it is a premium grade 9000 series rather than inexpensive 8000 series such as the 8215. So, exhibition case back is nice and flat. That's what I like about it. It's not a bubble back profile. It's the kind of flat case back one would expect on a quartz powered piece or a manual wind powered piece. Concentric CNC lathe tool machining to the stainless steel portion. The milled slots are deburred and chamfered very well. No sharp edges to the milled slots. The circumference is engraved with the specification with high definition engraving, so that's good. And the very edge of the circumference is mirror polished to a flawless standard. No sharp edges to it. And the flat sapphire crystal feels very smooth and comfortable against the wrist. So it does a good job of displaying the movement, but also feels very comfortable. When you're wearing this piece for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day, the flat sapphire crystal feels comfortable, feels nice and flat, sits very snug to the wrist, and I like it. So, underside to the head of the piece is mirror polished to a flawless standard. It's high tier level. No flaws whatsoever. The tips of the four corners of the lugs are chamfered and beveled very well. No sharp edges to the undercut, so the case finishing is not low tier or mid tier level, it's high tier level. Olto-8 deserve credit. The mirror polishing on this piece, the head of the piece, is fantastic. So, good quality exhibition case back, good quality bezel, sapphire crystal is good, and also the flanks are very aesthetically pleasing. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now just bear with me because it's fiddly when you're wearing gloves. Right, so I'll just engage the end of the strap. I can get it into that one. Right, so 7.5 inches is really the maximum this strap will support. A minimum 6 inch up to a maximum 7.5 inch, because this is now tight on my wrist. I can just slide my index finger beneath the buckle and tang and the strap, but it feels tight. So in order for it to be comfortable, it would need to be half an inch longer. So 8 inches is the absolute maximum. I can just engage the end of the strap in both of the keepers, the first fixed keeper and the second sliding keeper, but really 7.5 inches for comfort is the maximum. But for the majority of collectors, 6 inches to 7.5 inches wrist size, the leather strap, which is alligator finished, will fit. Nice chocolate tone to it, and it complements the gradient enamel dial. So in the centre of the gradient dial, it looks dark green, and then it graduates to a very dark green at the circumference or the edge of the dial, almost black. Also, I like the 3D effect of the dial because we've got this chaptering, which is white minute ticks, but then the top minute scale has contrasting white Arabic numerals in a nice font, which matches the Olto-8 Roto font. The only thing I would like to change, or I think Olto-8 could enhance this piece by deleting automatic on the left of the chaptering and delete 50 meters. 50 meters is negligible information. This is a daily wear piece or a dress piece. One doesn't need to know it's 50 meters. It's a given that it's going to be water resistant, but we're not looking at a dive piece. So we don't need to know that this is 50 meters. They could delete that. Also, we don't need to know it's an automatic. We can simply see that by looking at the rotor through the exhibition case back when you take the piece off wrist. So they could delete automatic and delete 50 meters, just have Olto-8 and Roto at 6 o'clock. But very aesthetically pleasing. Thing I like about this piece overall is it's only 13mm. I often refer to this as the sweet spot in my previous reviews. 13mm means a piece will easily slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. So, practical daily wear piece as a result. Even though it has a very high dome to the double dome sapphire crystal in order to clear the triple arm, it doesn't sit too tall on the wrist. The other thing I like about it is the lack of heft. It's only 62 grams. This feels invisible on wrist. It really does feel weightless on the chocolate alligator textured leather strap, as you can see. So it feels very well balanced. Doesn't feel top heavy. The strap balances the head of the piece. The other thing I like about it is it's got a nice curved undercut to the flanks of the case, as you can see. The lugs wrap around the wrist. They're not too straight. there's a minimal gap beneath the tips of the lug, so it's a very snug fitting piece. Doesn't have a bubble back case back profile, as I've detailed, nice and flat. So at 13mm, it does fit very close to the wrist, and it wraps around the wrist very well. So 38, it does give satisfying wrist presence for a 6 to 7 inch wrist. However, if you have a larger wrist of 7 to 8 inches, you may think that it doesn't have enough wrist presence. I think they should have also offered this in a larger version. For example, a 39 or a 40 would suit collectors with a larger wrist. 38 is good for all wrist sizes, and for the majority of collectors with a 6 to 7 inch wrist, 38 does give enough wrist presence. But I think for collectors with a larger wrist of 7 to 8 inches, they would prefer this in a 39 or a 40 size, but 38 is good for a dress piece or a daily wear piece. The lug width is correct at 20, and the taper on the strap is correct down to the buckle and tang, so proportions are good. Now, lug to lug is very good. This is 47. It's slightly below the perfect sweet spot of 48, which I often refer to, because 48mm is the sweet spot that will fit collectors with, regardless of whether you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist or a 7 to 8 inch wrist respectively. So 47 lug to lug, it's just 1mm below the sweet spot, the perfect 48, but it's good. Nice compact lug to lug means it wraps around the wrist well, and 38 by 47 long is good with a 20mm lug width. 13 is very nice. I like that it's not too tall, but the double dome sapphire crystal is very aesthetically pleasing. The enamel gradient dial is gorgeous, and I like the dark grey anthracite tone to the triple arm mounted on the cannon pinion. And also the green discs, they look very aesthetically pleasing because they are transparent, they let the light through. So very good, and I think the feel good factor is good, the comfort level is good. So lack of heft is a benefit, 62 grams, low profile is a benefit, it's only 13mm thick. So they've got the proportions very well for the majority of wrist sizes. Right, so let's do a lume test and we'll see how the lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to the absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged. Now, as you can see, they fully loomed the chapter ring, the 60-minute scale on the top of the chapter ring with BGW9, also the Arabic numerals and the triangle pointers on the 3 discs with BGW9. Now, we're clearly looking at 3 to 4 layers. This is the one negative of this piece that I would like to see Olto-8 refine or update, because they could improve this, and it's really a missed opportunity at this price point. They should have applied 5 to 6 layers of BGW9 on the chapter ring, the minute scale, 0 to 60 minutes, and also the Arabic numerals on the 3 discs for the hours with the pointers. The legibility is excellent. It's high definition printing, so the quality of the application in terms of the definition of the font, it's not too thick and blurry. The font is nice and crisp and sharp. The printing of the minute ticks on the chaptering is nice and crisp and sharp. So the quality of the printing to the Arabic numerals and the minute ticks is excellent, but just not enough layers of it. So they simply need to apply 5 to 6 layers, and that would update this, because the problem with it is this is 3 to 4, and the reason why you can tell it's 3 to 4, if you look now, it's beginning to fade on the chapter ring, the 60-minute scale on the top, and also the 3 discs. You can see the Arabic numerals are fading, and they will continue to fade very quickly, exponentially with time. This is the problem with only applying 3 to 4 layers, which is a cost-cutting measure in order to reduce production costs and maximise profit margin per piece. Often low-tier brands will do this. They will cut production costs by simply applying 3 to 4 layers versus 5 to 6, which is the industry standard for good reason. It's optimum. Now you can see the problem. On the Arabic numerals on the 3 discs for the hours, it's fading quickly, and also on the 60-minute scale, 0 to 60 at the top of the chapter ring, you can see it's fading quickly, and as time goes on it will fade to nothing. So this is the one negative that I want you to be aware of, the one cost-cutting measure, the one disappointment. Other than that, it's excellent. So I just think it's a shame, because the movement is premium grade, the AR coating is good, the finishing of the head of the piece is high tier level, the strap is good quality, but the lume is just disappointing. This is not 5 to 6 layers. At this price point, it really does need to be 5 to 6 layers. One could be magnanimous if this were below €100, but this is €469. We're at the top end of the low tier, €500 where the mid tier begins, and one has to have 5 to 6 layers. So you can see now it's fading very quickly, and it will continue to fade to nothing. So that's a shame. So Let's discuss the movement use because it's one of my favourite aspects of the piece. So this is powered by a modified Miyota 9029. Now the 9029 is one of my favourite Miyota calibers. I really like the 9000 series such as the 9015, 9029 and 9039 respectively. The reason why I like it is because it runs at 28,800 vibrations per hour, which is a frequency of 4 Hz. So it's smooth. The other thing is it's premium grade. So the build quality, quality control, materials and finishing are higher level than 8000 series base Miyota calibers. The 9000 series are premium grade. Now, the architecture of the movement, the 9029 you're looking at, which is modified, is the same as the architecture of the 9015. The main differences are, the 9015 is the date version. It has a date wheel and date complication. The 9029 and 9039 deletes the date complication, but the architecture is the same. There's another notable difference which is beneficial. With the 9029, it has a lower cannon pinion stack height for the handset. So this does not have 3 hands as per convention. It doesn't have an hour, minute and second hand mounted on the cannon pinion, but the cannon pinion is shorter. It's lower than the 9015, which is the date version. So what they do is they modify it. They mount this triple arm on top of the cannon pinion in place of where the hour, minute and second hand would go, and then the triple arm is driven off the cannon pinion and it rotates the 3 discs. But the point is, it's low profile. So even though they've mounted this triple arm, because the 9029 is low profile, it means that even with a double dome sapphire crystal to provide adequate clearance, this is still only 13mm thick. Had they used a 9015, it would have been taller. It would have been 13.5 or 14, and therefore the piece would be tall, top heavy and not balanced. So low profile, low cannon pinion stack height, has hacking, which is good. Manual winding works very well, 42-hour power reserve is good, and I like the finishing. You can see the milled stripes to decorate the bridge, and it's like Côtes de Genève. So the only thing I would like to see is Olto-8 sign the rotor with the emblem, either laser etch it or engrave it, because it's just got the sterile standard Miyota 9029 rotor, so that's a cost-cutting measure. They should sign the rotor at this price point, €469. But nice to see it through the exhibition caseback. So the stated accuracy of the 9029 is -10 to +30 seconds per day, so rather wide accuracy range. However, I'm pleased to report that Olto-8 are doing a good job of regulating the movements they're using. This one is running consistently at +2 seconds per day, which is incredible accuracy. So +2 is well within the stated -10 to +30, and it's actually within chronometer grade accuracy of -4 to +6. It's nothing unusual to get +2 seconds per day from a Miyota 9000 series such as the 9015, 9029 and 9039 respectively, but +2 is very accurate. They deserve credit. They're clearly regulating the movements in 5 positions to attain +2 from a 9029. So no negatives to it whatsoever. Hacking works well, hand winding works well, 42 hours is good. It's a reliable, well-proven caliber because Miyota have been producing it since 2018. So now at this stage in 2025, it is well proven beyond question. So the hand winding and hacking always works well. Build quality is good, quality control, tolerances, machining and finishing. One of my favourite Miyota calibers and the correct choice for a base to modify to create this triple arm movements. So I really like it. I think it's the right choice. So last I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So low tier piece, price point is $509, which is €469. I'm going to declare it good quality and I'm going to declare the value as okay. It's unfortunate. I'd love to say that this is excellent quality because it's really impressed me, but the negative is the BGW9 is 3 to 4 layers and it's a really disappointing cost-cutting measure at €469. The case finishing is high tier level and the sapphire crystal with the AR coating is excellent. The triple arm is well finished, the time setting and also the hacking and manual winding all work well. The movement is premium grade and the exhibition case back is very well finished with sapphire crystal. The strap is high quality. I like it. So everything about this piece is excellent quality with the exception of the BGW9, and that downgrades it from excellent quality down to good, which is a real shame. In terms of value, it does face some stiff competition from other micro brands at this price point. Now I appreciate it does increase production costs to modify a Miyota 9029 automatic, but I can only say okay value because 469 is expensive. I would like to see Olto-8 reduce the price point of this down to below €400. That would make it good or excellent value, but at 469 I can only say okay value. So in order to make it excellent quality and excellent value, they simply need to upgrade the BGW9 to 5 to 6 layers from 3 to 4, and they also need to reduce the price point down to below €400. If this had 5 to 6 layers of BGW9 and it was below €400, I would say it was excellent quality and excellent value. But as it stands, I'm going to say good quality and okay value. So I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Olto-8 Roto Jade Green. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you for watching.